Hi everyone, I'm back again with another lesson for week 2. Again, welcome to my class. This is the 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the World, Module 2. Before we continue, I'd like you to subscribe to my channel for some updates and lesson every week. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. So this lesson is about Quarter 1, Module 2 entitled Conventional and 21st Century Genre. So this module is a standalone section that you can use based on your needs and interests to enhance your competency on how to differentiate the various 21st century literature genres and the ones from the original genre, citing their elements, structures, and traditions. So on this module, after going through this module, you are expected to do again another 3 things. After going through this module, you are expected to: number 1, differentiate the 21st century literary genres and the ones from the original genre. Number 2 is to enumerate the elements, structures, and traditions of each genre. And number 3 is to appreciate the unique features of each genre. Okay, before we continue to our lesson 1, which is the 21st century literary genre, kindly answer the activity on page 1 entitled What I Know. That is 1 to 15, you're just going to write the letter of your answers. So let us now proceed with lesson 1 for this week, which is the 21st century literary genre. When I say 21st century literature, it refers to the new literary work created within the last decade. It is written by contemporary authors which may deal with the current themes, issues, and reflects a technological culture. It often breaks traditional writing rule. So this is another way of writing that is based on the present culture and situation. Moreover, when we say 21st century reader, it is a 21st century reader grew up using technology as a primary tools in learning. So you yourself is considered as the 21st century reader. You tend to read Wattpad, you tend to use ebooks, you tend to explore internet in order to answer your modules. So that is an example of a 21st century reader. Okay, so let's continue on page 5. So kindly answer the what's new direction. Okay, for your first task, kindly copy this puzzle and then look for the conventional literary genres in the puzzle below, and on a separate sheet of paper answers the question that follow. So you are going to copy this puzzle on your separate sheet of paper. Do not write anything on module. After that, you are going to answer the following questions. Number 1, what are the 4 conventional literary genre have you found in the puzzle? Number 2, what are their unique features? Continue. Let us recall the major literary genres. The first one is poetry. Some of you might encounter different genres that we are about to discuss on your previous lesson during grade 10 and 11. So let's have a recall about the major genres. The first one is the poetry. Poetry is an imaginative awareness of experience expressed through meaning. When we say poetry, it is an imaginative awareness of experience expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices to evoke an emotional response. It has been known to employ meter and rhyme. The very nature of poetry as an authentic and individual mode of expression makes it nearly impossible to define. So there are a lot of definitions of poetry. Poetry is known for Tagalog as the tula, but we have different pattern on doing such poetry. The literary genre that we are about to discuss is about drama. So what is drama? Drama is a composition in prose or verse presenting in a dialogue or pantomime, a story involving conflict, more contrast of character, especially on intended to be acted on stage or known as a play. It may be any situation or series of events happening vivid, emotional, conflicting, or striking interest. So everyone knows about drama. It has a plot, character, setting, etc. It can be acted on a stage, live. It is known as a play. The third one is fiction. So what is a fiction? On the other hand, fiction is a literature created from the imagination, not presented as fact, though it may be based on the true story or situation. Types of literature in the fiction includes the novel, short story, and novella. Fictions are form of imagination. Next we have non-fiction. When I say non-fiction, it is based on facts and author's opinion about the subject. The purpose of non-fiction writing is to inform and sometimes to persuade. Its examples are biographies, articles from textbooks, and magazines and newspaper. So this aims to persuade, meaning the author wants the reader to agree on his or her opinion. So what is it? So we are done rediscovering the conventional literary genre, which are the poetry, drama, fiction, and non-fiction. So in this part of the module, you are going to learn the modern literary genres presently used by the 21st century writers. So the 21st century literature genres. Number 1 is the illustrated novel. So what are the characteristics of illustrated novels? Number 1 is the story through text and illustrated image. So these are stories through text and illustrated image. The readers tend to examine the meaning of the literature based on the context and the illustrated image presented. Number 2, 50% of the narrative is presented without words. As I said earlier, readers tend to understand the context of the novel based on the illustrated images presented. And number 3 is the reader must interpret the image and comprehend the story completely. Textual portions are presented on traditional form, and some illustrated novels may contain no text at all. So not all illustrated novels has its text. Most of the time or sometimes it consists only with images, illustrated images, and the reader must interpret the meaning of the image presented to understand the complete novel. Example is the intervention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Safnick and the arrival of Shantan. So the readers tend to understand this story based on the image presented. So here are the image, sample image of the context. So as you can see, there is no words at all. Another examples are the books of children or the kids or the babies, the beginning book. Most of the content of those books are more on images, less text. Okay, so the second 21st century literature genre is known as the Digi-fiction. Digi-fiction is known for its name as the triple media literature because it is a combination of book, video, and internet websites. So what are the characteristics of Digi-fiction? The second one is combines three. As I said earlier, it is a combination of book, movies or video, and the internet website. So to get the full story, student must engage in navigation, reading, and viewing in all three forms. So if you are asked to read a Digi-fiction, in order for you to understand it, you need to read and use different videos using the three forms: the books, the movie or the video, and then the internet website. Example of Digi-fictions are Skeleton Creek, Route 26, and the 21st genre known as the Wattpad or the 20. So everyone is familiar with the use of Wattpad. Wattpad, we have now the different series that we can watch on TV, uploaded on YouTube, and its website. Third 21st century literature genre is known as the graphic novel. So do not be confused with the illustrated novel and graphic novel. When we say graphic novel, it is a narrative in a comic book formats, meaning to say these are the comics. The second one is narrative work in which the story is conveyed to the reader using comic form. As I've said earlier, it is more on comics. Unlike the illustrated image, 50% of it uses image only to interpret, and the term is employed in broadly manner encompassing non-fiction works and thematically linked short stories as well as the fictional stories across a number of genres. Example of graphic novel are the Archie Jumbo Combo. In Philippines, we have Darna and Captain Barbell. So the fourth 21st century literature genre is that thing called the manga. Manga is originated in Japan. In Japanese word, which means comics, it is used in English-speaking world as a generic term for all comic books and graphic novels originally published in Japan. It is considered as an artistic and storytelling style. Moreover, manga is categorized into different forms. Another thing is Ameri manga, sometimes used to refer a comics created by American artists in manga style. So different category of manga. Number one, we have the shonen, means boys manga. Example are Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. On the other hand, girls manga is known as the shoujo, which examples are Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura. Seinen is known as the men's manga. Example is the Akira. While Josei, women's manga, examples are the Loveless and the Paradise Kiss. And thus, we have that thing called the Komodo, which means children's manga. Examples are Doraemon and the Hello Kitty. Okay, so next we have the doodle fiction. Literary representation where the author incorporates doodle writings, drawings, and handwritten graphics in place of traditional font. Drawing enhances the story, often adding humorous elements. So on this part, the author tends to attract the readers using the handwritten graphics and doodle writings and drawing. Examples are The Diary of a Wimpy Kid and The Day Failure Mistakes Were Made. Moreover, we have that thing called the text-talk novels. So blogs, email, and IM format narratives or the emails. So stories told almost entirely in dialogue, simulating social network exchanges. So example of these are the stories that you can read on the different posts like in Facebook, Twitter, or even in emails. Okay, so next we have that thing called the chick lit or chick literature. It's a genre fiction which addresses issues of modern womanhood, often humorously and lightheartedly. So chick lit typically features a female protagonist whose femininity is heavily thermalizingly in the plot. So this means that this genre focuses on a woman or a female story. Next, we have the flash fiction. When we say flash fiction, it is a style of fictional literature of extreme brevity. So there is no widely accepted definition of the length and category. It could range from word to 1,000. So when we say flash fiction, there's no specific format. It may contain one word or one sentence or 1,000 of words. Next, we have the 6-word flash fiction. So our next example of these are Ernest Hemingway, For Sale, Baby, Sack, Never Worn, and Margaret Atwood, Long for Him, Get Him, Ship. So as you can see, the 6-word flash fiction is a fiction composed only of 6 words. And then the creative nonfiction, also known as the literary nonfiction or narrative nonfiction, a genre of writing that uses literary styles and techniques to create factually accurate narratives. So the aim of creative nonfiction is to make a writing based on facts and accurate narrative. So contrast with the other nonfiction such as technical writing or journalism, which is also rooted in accurate fact, but is not primarily written in service to its craft. So moreover, creative nonfiction as a genre is still a relatively young and is still only beginning to be scrutinized with the same critical analysis given to fiction and poetry. Examples of creative nonfiction is 1,000 Gifts by Anne Boscamp and Wind, Sun, and Stars by the author of The Little Prince. Science fiction is a genre of speculative fiction dealing with imaginative concepts such as futuristic science and technology, space travel, time travel, faster than the light travel, a parallel universe, and the extraterrestrial life. It often explores the potential consequences of scientific and other innovation and has been called a literature of ideas. From the word itself, science is a world of idea. Science fiction is known as a literature of ideas. Examples are The Hunger Game Mockingjay and The Kingdom of Ash. Finally, we have vlog or the vlog begin with letter B. Some students are being confused with the word vlog begin with victory and vlog begin with V. Vlog is for the video log, while vlog is from the website itself. So a blog is a weblog, a website containing short articles called posts that are changed regularly. Some blogs are written by one person containing his or her own opinions, interests, and experiences, while others are written by different people. So some blogs are just opinion of people about, for example, the situation of our country, the state of COVID pandemic, etc. Next is the Hyperpoetry, or known as the digital poetry, that uses link and hypertext markup. It can either involve a set of words, phrases, lines, etc. that are presented in variable order but sit on one page, much as traditional poetry does, or it contains part of the poem that move and transform. From the word itself, hypertext. When you say hyper or hyper poetry, these are poetries that has different links in order for the reader to understand the poetry well. So it is usually found online through CD-ROM, and diskette versions exist. The earliest example date to no later than the mid-1980s. So what's more? Okay, so what's more? So we're done discussing about the 21st century literature genre and the major literary genre. Now let us proceed with your activities. Open your module on page 9, activity number 1. It says here that analyze the content of the text below and identify its literary genre. So on page 9, you're going to read the text entitled Tristan Cafe. So you are going to analyze the context or the meaning of the text and identify what is the genre of this literary piece. Okay, you are going to do that later. Open your module on page 10. So about the activity earlier on activity number 1. For assessment number 1, write a 5 to 10 sentence paragraph describing the characteristic of Tristan Cafe that qualifies it as a 21st century literary piece. Use the paragraph writing rubric as your guide. So after analyzing the poem, you are going to describe the characteristics of this literature and why it is considered as the 21st century literary piece. So you are going to be graded according to its content, the organization, mechanics, and grammar. Next, on page 10, activity number 2. Compare and contrast these modern literary genres using the Venn diagram. So you will see the Venn diagram on page 10. You are going to compare the text talk novel, the vlog, and the hypertext based on your understanding about our lesson. For assessment number 2, on page 11, based on your answer in activity number 2, which is the Venn diagram, briefly answer the following questions. Number 1, what characteristics make this genre similar in terms of elements? Number 2, what characteristics make this genre similar in terms of its structure? So you're going to differentiate their elements and structure. Next, for activity number 3 on page 11, write the similarities and differences of the doodle fiction, manga, and graphic novel using the compare and contrast graphic organizer. So you are going to do the same from activity number 2. You are going to draw a Venn diagram in order to compare the doodle fiction, manga, and the graphic novel. Moreover, on page 11, here is it pala. Differentiate the terms of structure, the similarities. You're going to use this box on page 11 in order to compare the similarities and differences of doodle fiction, manga, and graphic novel. So you're going to follow this box on page 11. Next, for the assessment number 3, So you're going to create the blog post based on your answers in activity number 3. So instead of you posting it in a vlog, you're going to write it on a piece of paper, and you are going to be graded in the following: the content, the source, and the creativity. Okay, on page 13, the last one for the assessment. So you have learned the different conventional and modern literary genres. As a 21st century learner, retell the Filipino folktale entitled The Sun and the Moon using one of the genres and post your work on your Facebook page with the hashtag folktales in the 21st century. So you're not going to post it na lang. You're going to write it on a piece of paper. Mamimili lang kayo sa tatlong to kung anong genre ang gagamitin nyo. So kindly read the folktale entitled The Sun and the Moon. After reading The Sun and the Moon, you're going to pick one of the following genre. It's either 30-word flash fiction, 4-panel comics, or 1-page doodle fiction. Kaya mamimili kung anong gagamitin nyo dyan in order for you to retell this folktale. And for the additional activity, further test that you have learned by examining the two below. So we have here the text and the conversation, the A and B. Identify the literary genre of each example and compare and contrast the characteristics below. So after identifying this, okay, so that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow. That's all for now. If you have any question, you can ask me through our Facebook Messenger and comment your questions for more. So don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you next week. Goodbye!